we're going to start talking about integers and opposite numbers today. So the first thing, I just quickly wanted to remind you what an integer was. It's any whole, negative, or positive number including 0. So it will never be a decimal, it will never be a fraction. It will always be a whole number, whether it's positive or negative. Integers are your numbers on a number line or numbers on a ruler. If you're looking at a ruler, they usually don't write the fractions in that. They usually just put the inches or the centimeters in their whole numbers. So positive numbers are to the right, the negative numbers are to the left. It also, if you are using a vertical number line, it's going to be positives above and the bottom is going to be the negative numbers. So what are opposites? Well, let's say I have 2 on my number line. The opposite of 2 is going to be negative 2 because they are the same distance from 0. So 0 is always our starting point. And we start at 2 and we have negative 2 also. Same thing if I was looking at a vertical number line. So let's say I have negative 3, the opposite of negative 3 then of course would be positive 3. So opposites are just the same distance from 0 because that gives me 1, 2, 3 jumps that way and 1, 2, 3 jumps that way. So that is simply opposites. So here's a couple more examples. So negative 1 and 1, well, they're opposite because they are 1 jump from 0. So we're going to talk about some word problems using negative numbers and positive numbers. Now, positive words are deposit, increase, forward, ascending, gained, above, up, and profit. Negative words that mean less than 0 are withdrawal, decrease, backwards, descending, lost, below, down, and debt. Those are some of our words that you'll be hearing in the next few slides. All right, so on this one, if we were looking for, is it a positive or a negative integer, we would say a plane descends 50 feet. Well, descends was on our negative, so we would write this as a negative 50 feet. It says a deposit of 100. So when it's a positive number, we can either write it as 100 or a positive 100. Either way works. All right, I want you to do the next two in your journal. A person goes forward 5 inches and a withdraw of $11. So the next concept we're going to talk about in this video is absolute value. Now, absolute value means the distance away from 0. Now, I want you to think about this. Distance is always positive. When I drive my car, I never undo miles, I always add miles. So anytime we have absolute value, it's just how many jumps or how far are you away from 0. So an absolute value of negative 3 is 3, an absolute value of 4 is 4, because I'm 4 units from 0 and 3 units from 0. Also, absolute value looks like these. It just is 2 straight brackets, and whatever number is inside will always be positive. All right, so absolute value of 6, well, that's just going to remain 6. It's not the opposite, so don't get it confused with the opposite, because that is with whether I'm at 6 or negative 6, I'm 6 jumps away from 0, so it's the distance. Negative 4, you tell me what it is, and negative 73, you tell me what it is. So you do those two in your journal. So when we do absolute value, we want to see if it's greater than, less than, or equal to, the first thing we have to do is take it out of the absolute value. So the absolute value negative 3 is 3. Absolute value of positive 3 is 3. So these two are going to be equals. Whenever we have an absolute value bracket, we treat it as a group in GEMDAS. And so we have to take it out of the bracket first before we can decide what it is. All right, so this one is yours. What do you think? Is absolute value of negative 2 less than, greater than, or equal to the absolute value of 3? Write it in your journal. Here's one more for you. Negative 4 less than, greater than, equal to the absolute value of negative 5. All right, so one last thing on this. On a number line, when we're doing integers and we're doing the distance between those integers, the first thing we have to look at is go ahead and plot the number. So the temperature is 7 degrees, so positive 7 comes right over here. And then it says, and it falls to negative 1 degree. So then I come over here and I mark my negative 1. And it says, what's the change in temperature? So when we have this on a number line, it's not 7, because if I count 7, I only go to 0. So when we count from dot to dot, I start at negative 1. My first jump is to 0. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So when it says what is the change in temperature, the change in temperature is 8 degrees. So it is not, so we have to be careful. Anytime we go over the 0, we're still counting, because again, we're talking that distance, so it's going to be positive. So even though we're talking about negative numbers, we still are talking about a positive distance. So the next one is yours. All right, you owe your friend $8. You mow the lawn and make some money. After you paid your friend the $8, you have $7 left. How much money did you make for mowing the lawn? So plot that on a number line in your journal. Tell me how much money you made for sure. And that is your last one for tonight. Have a great day.